Hi folks. I'm not sure how well you can see me or how well you can hear me because it's really bright outside. I'm in my truck, of course, and I'm at Sea Rim State Park. And this is near Port Arthur, Texas, Sabine, something or another. But it's this park is they've got water and electric sites, but they're on the other side of the dunes. And they said if you don't mind primitive camping, you can stay right on the beach. So that's what I'm doing. And I think before I go to sleep tonight, I'm going to need to move my truck a little bit, because when I pulled up here, I looked at the place where I thought high tide would be. There's a line, and it's about 3 or 4 feet behind my truck. But then I went for a walk down that way, and I saw that the sand has had water on it fairly recently, a bit higher. So I think before I go to sleep, I'm going to definitely move my truck, because high tide is at 4:30 something in the morning, and I don't want to wake up and have water on my tires. But for now, it's kind of cool being close to the water. I've got my surf rod with me, and I didn't have any bait. I'm going to see my daughter, and I'm supposed to hook up with her tomorrow. So I wasn't planning on fishing today, but I saw this on the map. I stopped at the Texas Welcome Center, and they had a little booklet on Texas state parks, and so I opened it up and had a look for what was close, and this was only about 45 minutes from where I was at when I crossed from Louisiana into Texas. So I've got I parboiled some potatoes, and I've got one of those little portable kind of single serving kind of corn, and I think I got a single serving green beans and things like that. So I'll have those parboiled potatoes. I'll fry them in some butter just for flavor, and then I'm sure getting a lot of solar. Being out here on the beach, I got the 200 watt. I'm looking at the machine over there, and it looks like it's maybe even overwhelming in a little bit. But anyway, I have a package of hot dogs, and I think I will take and cook some of those hot dogs to go along with the potatoes and vegetables. But the lady at the gate, the ranger, said that I asked how fishing was, and she said people are catching sharks. So I'm going to see if sharks might be interested in one of my hot dogs. And if not, no big deal. But that's part of the reason I wanted to park really close to the water, so I could fish from the back of my truck. I think that'd be cool. and later tonight, I'll finish watching the movie. I started it last night. That was Alfred Hitchcock's film, The Birds. That's one of his best, I think. I'm a Hitchcock fan. But anyway, it's just there's kind of a haze, but very few clouds, so it's pretty bright out here, and people are starting to leave. I may be the only one out here this evening. There were several vehicles whenever I arrived, and there's one right over there, but it's a man and woman and 2 kids. I know they're not spending the night. There are maybe a dozen RVs of various sorts on the other side of the dune at the electric and water sites. I don't know how much those are. I didn't pay attention to that. It costs $3 to get in. That's an entrance fee. But to camp on the beach is $10, so it's $13 for the night, which for a campsite, $13 is pretty good. There's a vault toilet. There's no hot water showers, but they do have a couple of places where you can wash yourself off and get the salt off, but it's cold water. I walked out into the surf a little bit ago, and it's not quite as warm as bath water, but it feels really nice, especially for the 1st of June. You know, I'm used to the Virginia, and the water there is still pretty cold. But this is the Gulf of Mexico, so it's not the same thing. And low tide tonight is at 7:30, and it's about 6 right now, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's about 6 o'clock. And I can see the water going way out now. I walked out there shortly after I got here, which was an hour and a half, 2 hours ago. And I walked out, must have been 50 yards before water even got up to my knees. But I did see one little fish jumping, so something was after it. And that was pretty close to me. So that's about as far as I want to go into the water, into water that has things that sting and bite. And I'm not afraid of sharks, but I did that once before when I was young in the military. I was down in South Carolina, Shaw Air Force Base, and I went out to the coast and went swimming, and I went quite a ways out. Went up about shoulder level, and looking back towards the shore, and I see a fin about halfway between me and shore. And I got back up there, and they said, oh, that was probably a dolphin. Well, it wasn't much more than a week later, and there was a shark attack there. So I figure I got off with that. No, I'm not going to go out that deep in the water. Not when it's murky and hard to see anything, which it is here. You can't really see it, I don't think. But looking out that way, and I'll show you. Down that way. There's down that way. But straight out that way, it doesn't turn blue until, that may be a half a mile out. But it's kind of muddy between here and there. So, I had my dinner and a little bit of cab sauv, and I had those hot dogs, and I took one of them and broke it up. I've still got half a hot dog here, and it's not dark yet, but I'm done fishing for the evening. And the reason I'm done fishing for the evening is because I learned something today. Did you know that alligators go out into the Gulf of Mexico? Saw it for myself. I'm standing right out there in the water, fishing with this here Hebrew National. I caught 2 catfish. And the guy down the way starts hollering and waving his arms and pointing. So I get out of the water and go look to see what he's talking about. He said, there's an alligator out there. And I thought he was pulling my leg. He says, it's right there. It'll be up in just a minute. Sure enough, that thing came up to the surface right about where I was fishing. 7 foot long at least. And he says it's bad for their skin, the salt water that is. I figured they was out there fishing or something. But hey, that was a surprise.